I think the first album is just a happy accident.
You've been on tour for quite some time after the release of the first album. Is this album maybe partly born during all those touring, or was it just born somewhere else?
Some of it was written. Some of it was written then on tour. We demoed some of the songs whilst touring, or we at least wrote them. We had a bit of a, when we handed in a load of demos to the record label after we finished the tour, they said that they didn't see any singles on the records we'd sent. And we sort of, you know, it was actually, you know, when they said that, we were like, oh, they're wrong, you know, very bitter, and, you know, what do they know? And then we sort of went back and we sort of took, you know, a lot of that criticism on board. Because, you know, these people are our biggest fans, you know, and have a lot of vested interest in us doing well. And we rewrote lots of the songs. One of the first songs on those demos was This Ain't a Love Song, so we sort of reworked that, wrote some new ones. So some of it came from like a very fresh perspective. But the main, what we wanted to do with this album was to put together 10 really good pop songs on one record. And there's no real overriding theme with this record. We wanted to keep it fun, we wanted to keep it positive, and we sort of structured the record in as if it was like a live show, really. So a big opening like This Ain't a Love Song. The end, we've got like, the end's almost like a little encore, one ad one, a big sort of like little rock thing with like a big, like Take a Chance on Us, like a big sort of, you know, epic thematic, you know, like a film score, and you know, and it sort of, you know, it goes down a bit in the middle in terms of tempo and that. So that's what we tried to put together as a record. So it's been.
So I suppose, yeah, it was kind of born out of the live show in the fluidity of the record.
Yeah, no, that's true actually, yeah.
And as songwriters, what's the biggest step you've all made, do you think, in the process between the first and the second album?
I think the first album is just a happy accident. You don't really think about songwriting. All we were doing was writing songs for our mates in a pub to sing along to, and you know, we were putting them out, but we weren't really thinking about songwriting. We were just trying to write songs which 50 of our mates would sing along to, and that sort of grew. I think, like, you know, 100 people coming down. We didn't think about songwriting, to be honest. We just wrote the songs.
Yeah.
You don't even think about it, and then it came out and it just did amazingly well. And then all of a sudden you've got to think about songwriting, because suddenly you went from, you know, somebody who works in a shop who's in a band to somebody who's had hit singles and a hit album and is a songwriter. Do you know what I mean? And then suddenly you start thinking about what it is that you do. And I think you know, we studied a lot, we practiced a lot with the songwriting, and I think we've become better songwriters in terms of like just an understanding of what makes a great song. In the first album, I think you just sort of stumble upon it, whereas here we sort of really took our time to create a record so that a great song is a great melody, which sounds fresh and is exciting, I think, and or beautiful, and you know, something that for me has always been the most important thing, but with a great lyric as well, and a lyric that speaks to you, or is unique, or is a bit funny, or cheeky, but it has to be new, and then with that, with a production and a structure that you'd expect from, which is around at the moment, so like keeping the production fresh. And it's kind of, we had to learn all that, whereas on the first record we'd just done it, you know. On this record you had to suddenly go, oh, well, what the hell have we done? You know, how do we do it again? You know, because all we wanted to do was make great music, and so and it does feel like it was a struggle, this second album, but it feels that from it we've become much better musicians, much better songwriters, much better producers and performers. Yeah.
Last question. What was the first really big audience that you played for? Do you remember that?
Big audience.
Isle of Wight.
Yeah, I remember the first big festival which we'd never done. We've done a few festivals, but the biggest one was the Isle of Wight, which is 50,000 people, which was quite. Yeah, it was interesting going on stage.
Yeah.
It was one of those moments where you were loving it, because, you know, this is what we've always wanted to do and get to this sort of position, and then but also you know, wanted it to be over quite quickly because it was very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
There's lots of things that we did, you know, it being the first that we've learned from to make festivals and big shows better. That we, you know, things that we did there. So it was, that was our first.
Brown travel.
That was when it, first realised how big it had sort of become in the UK.
I remember because I was a bit cocky before I went on stage.
We were like,
we're going to do this, and we played a really amazing gig. But for the first 2 songs, because we'd been, you know, touring constantly for like 6 months. We knew the songs inside out. We knew how to work a crowd, but we'd never seen 50,000 people, and so we were like ready, waiting to go on stage. It was one of those ones we hadn't actually looked out beforehand. We just came out, and I remember you looked at me and I looked at you. We were like. We were just like, oh my God. And for the first 2 or 3 songs, it was really nervous. But I think that nerves came out in like an energy, and it was a really good rock and roll performance. I thought one of our best.
Well, thank you very much.
No, pleasure. Thank you.